Mr. Speaker, the Phoenix Sinclair inquiry heard some of the most appalling situations with regard to children in care in this province.
No kidding.
But there are still many more stories which were not heard and which still need to be heard. Many are stories of family trauma and unnecessary suffering. Today, we have just in front of the legislature a woman, Kim Edwards, who feels so strongly about the need to improve child and family services that she's been on a hunger strike for 27 days. I ask the Premier, what efforts will he make to ensure that all children and families who've been affected by child and family services will have a chance to tell their stories and be heard?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say to the member opposite that certainly the child welfare system, there are many heartbreaking stories, many children who find that in the family that they're born into, their parents are not able to care for them. And in some of the worst situations, their parents abuse them horribly. And so occasionally it is important, it is necessary for that system to step in, to take those children and to make sure that they are in a safe place. Certainly we've learned a lot from the Sinclair inquiry. We look forward to those recommendations coming out so we can continue to move forward. I have met with Ms. Edwards. I went and spoke with her the first day that she was here, listened to what she had to say. Certainly she has endured horrific loss as well. We have in this province updated the way that we deal with deaths of children in care so that we have some of the most...
Order, please. The minister's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, we have a Manitoban who is starving herself on our front lawn of our legislature, calling out for the other families to be heard. Kim Edwards has camped out in a hunger strike on the lawn since May the 22nd. She's called out to the Premier as he passed her on June the 3rd, asking why he's ignored her emails, and yet he did not stop or respond. To date, the Premier has failed to respond, and the Premier has failed to sit down with Kim Edwards and listen to her concerns. I ask the government, will the government provide assurances that the Premier will personally meet with Kim Edwards to hear her concerns that far too many children enter and remain within Manitoba?
The member's time has expired.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As I said, on the first day that Ms. Edwards was here, I went and spoke with her, listened to what she had to say. She was meeting with other families who have also gone through very difficult times in the child welfare system. I know that she provided one of the few bright spots in Phoenix's tragic short life, and loved her and cared for her, and I thank her for that, and I know that the loss that she has experienced, I hope, is a loss that none of us ever have to go through. We have in this legislature, under certainly the previous Minister of Family Services, put in place for the first time ever a system whereby the Children's Advocate looks at every death of a child who is either in care, has experience with the child welfare system, and then in addition to that, the Ombudsman also looks at those cases to see how agencies are doing fulfilling those recommendations.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier in 27 days has failed to meet with Kim Edwards. This is an emergency sitting, as we all know, and yet we have an NDP government which has dedicated itself to not listening to people. Even though the law requires the government to hold a referendum to listen to Manitobans, this government has refused to have that referendum. And now the Premier has refused to listen and to meet with Kim Edwards. He hasn't even talked to her. We can't even get a guarantee from the government that he will listen to her. I ask the government, will they provide a guarantee that the Premier will walk out the front door of this legislature as soon as he can and meet with Kim Edwards and listen to her concerns?
Very much, Mr. Speaker. As I said to the member opposite, I met with Ms. Edwards the first day she was here. I know previous ministers of family services have met with her. She has been an advocate for children who are in care. The loss that she experienced as one of the few people that loved and cared for Phoenix is something that I don't think any of us wish upon anyone. We will continue to work diligently every day to improve the child welfare system. We have funded additional positions in that system. We have put in place better tools. We have funded foster families so that they can provide mentorship to each other so that they can provide loving homes, and we'll continue to do that, Mr. Speaker. We're dedicated to that. We look forward to the recommendations that Commissioner Hughes is going to put forward to help guide us how we can continue to strengthen.
Order, please.